and he will run straight into a wall if he continues like that. And I will show you how, even if you don't follow me and what I've developed over the past decades, we will hear excerpts, and then I make it clear for you that he's saying pretty basic things, and sometimes they are just book wisdom. Exactly what he attacked in another of his videos, where he said you have to practice it, and he will repeat another famous sentence of him, and we will talk about that later. It's at the end. So he deserves this because he's heavily advertising himself. And by the way, advertising, if you watch his videos, there are of course ads. That is one big way to make money with your videos. I don't know what agreement he has with the Mulligan brothers, but anyway, the ads that are shown on this on within or at the end, at the beginning of those clips, are often from people who are in business, want to sell you some business related stuff, very much like you would find when you watch video clips of coaches who present themselves as coaches doing nothing else than being motivational, or as business guys, not related to Buddhism at all. That says something about how the YouTube algorithm analyzes what this Shi Heng is doing. How can I change the camera now? I made a mistake because I should have not been on screen, but I wanted to show you that I dressed up. Let me show this to you. So this is from a Thai monk, and there's a Thai inscription on it, and it says something, I don't know, I totally forgot. But this is supposed to protect your libido, okay? And this is given by monks here. Isn't it funny? And then I have this, look at this. I really dressed up like him, but you will see this now. I will just turn the camera, let's see, and I look from the other side if this will work, if I'm able to hold it stable and not see what I'm filming. Will be a bit difficult. Maybe I have to go back like this. Yeah, I should see it from time to time. So I'm at the side of the camera now, because if I turn it internally or switch from one camera to the next, it won't work. No, with my mobile it will just stop the video, and I know I'm too lazy to cut all the things. So what do we have here? He will talk about the Noble Eightfold Path, and that's how he starts. Let's make it a little bit louder.
Simply, you can also just turn it around, being the absence.
Now we will have an ad. Okay, this ad is of a different topic, but I just watched the clip on my mobile, and I had two business related ads.
Of ill talk or bad talking. So just staying, for example, with number 1, number 2, and number 3. What does it mean? Right understanding.
Let's go back. It's here. Right speech. What is right speech?
Of wrong thought or ill thought, or the absence of ill talk.
Oh, I have to do this quickly. My arm will get lame from holding up the camera like this. Now, this is a very simplified understanding of this teaching if you come from a chant school, because if you start talking about the opposition of right thinking, right thoughts, and ill thoughts, you're making a big mistake, and you will not prove yourself to be a master with insight, and you will mislead your disciples, because what you have to understand is that you are on a way to overcome the opposites. You would probably detect sooner or later that life and people are much of a gray zone, are not black and white. They are mixed, and there is a constant coming and going of those things that we call good and bad, and they are not really an opposite. Some people say one doesn't exist without the other, no? But this is a basic understanding that only a few Theravadins, maybe from the old Buddhist school, would have, that you have to eradicate bad thoughts. And you can misunderstand the scriptures like that if you're not experienced, if you just have book wisdom. And if you want to present yourself in a way like this, no? Actually, you will have ill thoughts, but you will have to accept them. You will have to accept them and not be pulled by them in their direction. So that's something different. And that's the main thing you have to understand. He's not talking about it. He's talking about something you can understand if you don't understand much, not just by reading some books about the Eightfold Path. So let's go further. In one part, he said at the beginning, I don't know where it was, let's talk about something that is well known to the Shaolin community. That's how he started. Well, the Eightfold Path is known to every Buddhist, and many Buddhist, let's say, societies or unions all over the world make it as a rule that you have to confirm, certain Buddhist teachings to be a Buddhist. One of them would usually be the Noble Eightfold Path. Why I criticize that, you will understand. Because the Eightfold Path is only a means called upaya in the Buddhist tradition. It is only something that can help you to understand something more important. So, something that is very well known to Shaolin community. Who is the Shaolin community? I think this was known for hundreds of years to any Buddhist, okay, and some don't know anything else, obviously. So let's see. I can't read my notes as usual. $9.40, I think that is. We go a little bit further. $9.40. No, it's not good to mix German and English. Pardon me.
What does right understanding mean?
What does right understanding mean?
Based on that research, go back to yourself, look out in the world, and try to understand what does right understanding mean.
Okay, so right understanding, first of all, to him means understanding what right understanding means. So that is somehow funny, isn't it? He is a comedian without knowing it. I tell you, for me as a comedian, he would give me more food for clips, because actually I plan to upload something every 3 days that I've prepared, mainly in Bangkok and on my last travel. But now, you see, I have to give you more than I thought. If I'd been clever, I would just delay the presentation of those videos, but he's so much advertising himself that there must be some counteraction. So what is the thing about right understanding and the problem with the Noble Eightfold Path? Oh, let me relax a bit and show my face again. The Buddha Shakyamuni started to talk about it and teach it only after he was enlightened. So how would you understand if something like the Noble Eightfold Path, just by logic, please follow me, is correct and is noble if you're not enlightened? He didn't do it. He couldn't talk about it before that. So if this is the endpoint of practicing the Eightfold Path, there is a contradiction, you understand? Because the Buddha didn't practice the Eightfold Path, because he didn't know it. He talked about it only after awakening, to put it in words, to give you a means, one of the means. That's how we understand it usually in Chan. That's why only rather primitive Chan teachers make books about all the common knowledge in old Buddhism and repeat it. without reflecting much, like a parrot. You can only judge if the Noble Eightfold Path is a Noble Eightfold Path when you're enlightened yourself. That means enlightenment, awakening, or right understanding, if we play it down a little bit, has to come at the beginning. It has to come at the beginning, not at the end. And then maybe your path will be a tenfold or whatever, or just a straight or a circumventing a chaotic path or whatever. Your path will be your path, and it will come from your understanding. Your teaching will be your teaching. It will not be a parrot repeating what someone has said thousands of years ago. But people who only have book wisdom can only do exactly this. Let's go a bit further. I don't want to make a 42-minute video again. What is this, the next thing at 14? Yeah, that is the right livelihood. And this is so wrong. This is so wrong. Let's go to 14. This is something also Thich Nhat Hanh talked about. And there you can understand how developed the sympathy and empathy for other people is. And if you force me to do it, I will pretty much find a butcher who is killing animals regularly and show you how good his life is, how good his karma is, because that is possible. And actually, I saw another video. Let me give you an anecdote and a side story for those who like it. Another funny video of somebody who was also from the martial arts, and he was demonstrating how to fight a dog. And he probably never was attacked by a dog. How can I tell you? He has his 2 trained dogs there, and the one is trained to help him demonstrate it. It's a shepherd dog, a German shepherd dog, and he tells him to jump at him. And he gives a lot of solutions. Of course, the first one is avoid any conflict, no, go away. Don't run, because that causes them to react to hunt, no? But okay, and then maybe jump on something higher, and he shows you how to jump well. And then the third one is, of course, you're really attacked by a dog, and the shepherd dog is jumping up to him, you know. The common street dog is of a lesser size than a shepherd dog, and the common street dog will not. And I would really like to show you, if I go through a remote area one time, I will show you there's a lot of street dogs, even dogs that belong to people, that are roaming free to bark away visitors at night. That is at the better parts of Pattaya also. No? Almost everyone has a dog, and they are not well educated. They bark at everything, and they cannot differentiate a burglar from just a passersby. They don't know how to educate and train them, but his dog is trained very well, so he's trained to jump at him, and then he can show a kick to his breast, and because he's a dog lover, there's nothing much happening. But the reality is that they will probably bite in your lower leg. Okay, this happened to me before too, and there's things that you can do, but you are justified to kill the dog instantly, or hurt him or maim him. And only a dog lover will give you a lecture like this, which is pretty stupid, I think, because, you know, the dogs that attack your throat, and so they're probably trained to do that, but the common dog will sniff around you, follow you, probably even bite you from the back. There's some good advice in this video, maybe I'll link it, but I will go through a remote area once, and you can hope that one dog is really attacking me, and I'm pushed so far that I hurt him or even kill him, which is not very well tolerated in Thailand because it's Buddhist. So you have to be careful. You need a really good reason to do it, and I will only do it if it's necessary. It probably never will be, because I know what to do before that. No? But it's so impossible to show you the reality there, or speculate about it. But if you've been in the situation, you know. And this is a little bit like this. The butcher is now named by him. Let's wait. Right livelihood, no? How to live correctly. Oh,
So same goes here.
we get an
Now
advertisement
pay
again.
attention to the actions that
I
you
not
are
show
taking.
it. I not show it to you. And again, I'm proven wrong. Now it's a KFC. It's even 2 maybe. Maybe it's different on the TV.
within the next year into the daily being.
Oh no, I'm not at 14. Sorry, 14 is here. Don't give me another app.
Not be in conflict of being a butcher. The right livelihood meaning, by the way of how you are making your living. Are you causing harm along this way? Are you causing harm along this profession?
So I would say only someone with book wisdom would mention the butcher, because he's mentioned in the Pali Canon. If you want to know what bullshit is mentioned in the Pali Canon, you have to go to the Vinaya Code, the code for monks he should follow, but he probably never took an oath to follow it with a real monk, maybe with that fake abbot who obviously beats or has beaten in the past some youth in his temple when they misbehaved. So this is not a valid vow anyway. There's some rules for it. But in the Vinaya Code, for example, celibacy is explained what you cannot do. You cannot even dig a hole in the ground. I think I told this story in German. And there are given other examples that the monks or the Buddha himself have to make up. Now imagine the fantasy they had, what you cannot do. What could happen if I don't allow them to have women, or if they're homosexual men, they could dig a hole in the ground and then fuck the ground. It is prohibited for the monk. It's really mentioned there. No? I once had to deal with it because of some other scandal we had. But anyway, the butcher is also mentioned, and so it's a classic example of book wisdom. And it's wrong. Thich Nhat Hanh also mentioned the soldier. No? It is wrong. You have to respect what those people are doing for you. And if you're vegan, maybe you don't think you have to, but there are other professions, like, for example, a soldier who is defending you or something else, that you would downgrade if you have a literal understanding of that practice. That is why it is second-rate. It is just a means. There is something higher, a higher truth, but not a truth in the sense of an ideology. I could give you another example, a famous example. Some people watch my channel who are also watching a channel of another Buddhist. And here I can tell you that I'm not only criticizing someone else whom I don't know. I know the other guy quite a bit, and he's publishing in my company very successfully. Still, lately he had a video out where he said the form, this form is already emptiness, because someone has asked him how is form developing out of emptiness and so on, and he said, quoting the Heart Sutra, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. This is an equation like in math. 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 is 1 plus 2. Everybody understands it. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it the maxim you should live on. Because if you have children and they want you to show that you love and care for them, how do you do if form is emptiness? How do you do if your form to show it, to manifest love, is not coming out of emptiness? And how will you do when it dissolves at some point, or it changes like anything else? How will you do? It's not staying the same. It's coming from somewhere. It's going. It's coming. It's going. That's the reality of life. And if you don't understand this, you take excerpts of the scriptures, even of Zen tradition, and you make them kind of an ideological topic. And they are not supposed to be that. They're just a means to show you something. But you will find out what is more important is to demonstrate right now, to manifest love if there is someone who requires it. Not to demonstrate that your form is emptiness. What would that mean in a situation like that? Just make sense of it. Now here, let's stay with him. So the butcher, he calls him, or the butcher, we know he means the one who slaughters animals. No, he is downgraded here. Look, some of you may have read Dogen, and sometimes a discussion comes up about the Buddha nature. That is stuff he might talk about maybe in a couple of years when he visited some seminars or did some other reading. The Buddha nature is some important topic in Zen or Chan Buddhism. The Buddha nature, is it in stones? Is it in plants? Look, if you understand this better, you could even tell a guy like this from the Zen's Chan's standpoint, you are hitting stones. You are hitting stones. What are you saying about the butcher? But he won't get it. He won't get it. Okay, because he doesn't indulge in Chan philosophy, but in Theravada stuff, in traditional book wisdom. So, 19. Oh, is it always the full minute? 19. That is right understanding again. But I think I have made my point about this.
That's it.
You know, I go step by step with my old deranged Kindle Fire remote, and there is an advertisement again.
That's why the right understanding is
The right understanding is, what is it? What is this advertisement about? Oh, this is Asian, and this is Chinese. I don't know. It sounds funny. I don't want to show it to you,
something very, very
but
fundamental.
maybe it's because I use a VPN normally on my phone, so I'm logged in through Germany or Japan or something, and I get different ads. I cannot use it here on TV. So what is he saying about right understanding again?
Anything else to follow. Yes. Then afterwards, after let's say you understand, okay, let's just assume I understand or I can see apparently that there is a connection between us humans, between the people that you're dealing with. Let's just assume there is a connection. If there's a connection, merge together with the ethical conduct that you do not want to harm, which would normally automatically arise in the moment where you feel the connection. Then it means in the way of how I am thinking, in the way how I am talking, I do not want you to get any harm from that.
Okay.
So it means what
Basically not wrong, and he's on the right track, because he said at the beginning, maybe you didn't hear it because I talked too much, that the right understanding is the pinnacle, is the main point here. But what does he make of it? Actually, you can bring that harm that he's talking about, because he's talking about obvious harm. He would say the butcher is causing harm. You have to do that in a way where your mind is, the Chan Buddhism is all about training your mind. That's it. Even if you do Kung Fu, it's training your mind. You have to get in an attitude where nothing sticks in your mind, even if you have to kill the cow that you raised with love or sympathy. And I found a bird once here. I told that story in another clip in German, and it could be cured. But the moment I went to the veterinarian, the question was if the a wing that was kind of broken could still heal, or if we would put it down, or instead put it in nature, and then probably a cat would have gotten it. So you have to make those decisions, but there should be nothing staying in your mind. And sometimes this is actually, it's the same when you kill a mosquito. It's just a small thing, and he probably kills mosquitoes too. But the mosquito has the same one life, and the same right to live as the cow that is killed by a butcher. Is just a small animal. You don't think much about it. Even the bacteria in your body would have that right, but you kill it by antibiotics and so on. I've talked about this a long time, but they don't think like this, and so that's why you get that parrot talk again and again, and it's because what I say is much more uncomfortable for you than what he says. So 20, but look, he's inspiring me, right? What is that? What have we left out? 2140. I have to surprise myself because I have such a bad memory.
And clarity to your life. What to do when I have clarity in my life? I start to see things better and therefore start once again to understand things better. So there you right now, for example, can see that meditative practice is very closely related also to the amount of how and what you are understanding. This is why it's not a chronology of steps that somebody is going through. All of this at the same time, as much commitment as you would like, as much effort as you would like to put into this type of practices.
Well, I could be very cynical now, no? Because what he's saying, not clearly enough, but I understand it like this, is that the more you meditate, the clearer you might see. So I'm almost 20 years older. I've meditated much more than him, and that's why I see clearer than him and can tell you. No? What he obviously doesn't see, probably because he doesn't meditate right, is that he's presenting himself as something he isn't. He isn't. No? He isn't ripe to be such a teacher. You see, I don't even teach, and he doesn't understand half of the things that are important in Chan Buddhism, and he wants to represent the Shaolin community. Well, he's making it worse. No? He doesn't fight for an emperor anymore, and maybe on the wrong side like some Shaolin did, but anyway. So he's probably forming a brotherhood with that Chang Dingsbums guy, that German Syrian guy. He's now on a retreat in Taiwan. Well, and that reminds me of a story. He's clever enough, I think, not to go there with an attendant, but another Vietnamese monk went there with an attendant, and he presented a story of his a trip to Taiwan, which was totally different from the one that the attendant presented, who said he indulged in sensual pleasures. But I don't know where this retreat is. Maybe we will know, and someone is able to go there and confirm it. But anyway, those two will be forming a brotherhood. I'm not saying they're doing anything else than a retreat, by the way. No? I'm just saying be careful to believe what they say, what they are doing. Because the other guy from Taiwan is doing the better Kung Fu. Obviously, he can still learn some Kung Fu from him, and he's presenting the, let's say, the wisdom part of Buddhist teaching better than the other guy. So they would, if I try to think like them, they would now necessarily form a bond in the future. If they are clever, they will separate from the Shaolin Temple Europe, and for a while this will bring a financial loss, but on the long run they would succeed. And if they are more clever, they would go back to zero somehow and confess where they have overdone it or stretched it too much. Okay, but nobody will follow my recommendation, because if you're on that MBA path, you probably just go on and on. Okay, so 2246. We have one more thing to cover. 2246. We get an ad again. It's impossible to stop.
Yeah.
and start again. I think normally there's just 2 or 3 ads, but now we have 5 or 6 already. Now it's Umai, a Thai product, you see, because I'm logged in through Thailand here. 2 ads in a row. The other is a hair tonic. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny? They don't have many ads related to Buddhist topics.
Along this way. You are not starting this one, or you are not bringing this one to the end.
And I'm wrong. 2246, please.
And afterwards, only come one sentence.
Okay, this is his classic sentence. 2 mistakes you can make. You're not starting it. Okay. You have not started a lot of things in your life, and you will never know. No? But if you want to know you started and you don't bring it to an end, I just want to ask him what he means by the end. As I said, I think yesterday, this is a continuous process. In the TV series that inspired me to get interested in Kung Fu, there was the last 4 episodes where the Shaolin monk says, "My life has come full circle." So he's ready to die in that moment. But I interpret it like this, but this practice is not coming to an end. So what does he mean by it? Actually, during your practice, you may even hear from classic Zen teachers, if you complain about something, for example, it's more important if you're enduring pain in a lotus seat or even during that Kung Fu exercise. Just imagine it will never end. Because if you think, oh, it's only 1 minute more and 2 minutes more, that's not the right attitude. But if he means the whole process of the path, what is the end? Even if you have an experience of awakening, would be just the beginning. What is the end? So some of the things are not really wrong. Some of the things he teaches are just basic stuff, but they're not reflected much. They're contradictory. They're contradictory when others teach them too. But he has not much delved into those topics. What are his Buddhist credentials anyway? I don't know. But I'm so sorry for all the naive commentators under this clip. And look what the Mulligan brothers have done, so you know how the marketing machinery is working here. It's pretty sad if this would be the widespread image of Chan or Zen Buddhism in Germany.